We need to have another in-class test and some tests. So we're going to go through Chapter 9, which we're wrapping up today. And then that'll give us our chunk of material for the next test, which kind of brings us through perfect competition and the theory of the firm of where we're at now. And then where we're going from Chapter 10 on is getting into a little bit more sophisticated pricing options that'll continue to work that in a higher level of detail. So I was kind of thinking next Friday would be a good time. What do you guys think? Next week sucks? Why is that?
Next week's production week for Cinderella.
Okay.
So we have rehearsal every night till like 11.
You got another test?
Yeah.
And something else? And what's your beef, Adam?
Got thumbs around paper. I have 2 project management papers.
Okay.
Wednesday night, and I'm off.
So Monday?
Monday, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying I can do it next week, but I was just saying next week sucks.
I don't mind. I mean, the main thing, I'm actually flexible on it. So let's plan on Monday. Monday the 4th.
Probably in class and multiple choice we do.
Yeah, so we'll have, right.
So we're gonna do that.
And we can even, what I'll probably do is do let's do the multiple choice part on Sunday, and then you guys have that behind you, of course, and then come in Monday to do the in-class.
Is Monday at midnight?
Yeah.
So it's, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9?
Yeah. 7,
6, 7,
6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So I better write that down then. I'll say the 4th. I just hate, and of course we're going to keep marching forward with new materials, but it's related to each other, so it's not going to derail you too much here. So I hope, but I don't want to push it off too far either. That's why I was thinking a week from today. But we will go with Monday for the in-class and Sunday the 3rd with the online multiple choice part, which will be multiple choice this time. Okay. All the way through. All right, so what did we leave off with last time? Didn't we start into, yeah, we started into that one problem. All right, 9.3. So we've got a Power Tires Company has a market demand curve, and it's got a marginal cost curve there. What is the firm's profit maximizing output and price? Did we do that? Did we do all of part A? Okay, and what do we get for an answer? Quantity of 30, price of 210. All right, so let's jump to part B then. Demand changes, marginal cost stays the same. What is the firm's profit maximizing level of output and price? And how does this compare to part A? So go ahead and start solving that out. You don't need to show it graphically at all, so I'm just going to kind of draw the graph that you guys already have. But you do got to figure out your new solution values with the new one. All right, as soon as you get some of these answers, tell me what you're getting. T180. Still got 210. Jesse got 210. Q of 30, price of 210. That's what Adam got. Oh, price 180. Q of 54. Boy, we got lots of answers going all over the place here.
I just said the
Quantity of what? 15. Price of 210. All right, let me see what you're doing. Yep, you don't want to use that one. Okay, I found Jesse's problem. Adam, yours look good. 120. What did you set here? 240 minus 4Q. Okay, quantity equals 30. That's fine. You don't want to substitute that back into marginal cost, though. You want to charge the highest price people are willing and able to pay for that quantity of 30. Okay? 30 plus 3Q, 240 minus 2Q. Okay, you got some sort of math error going on here. 5Q. Is it just the 5 minus 210? 210 equals 7Q. How'd you do that though? Oh, 240, you put, why'd you do that? The 2Q. Where'd you get the 2Q? I think you just made a mistake.
Yeah, I think I just wrote them
Oh, I know what you did. You tell me what you did. You used the demand curve, but that's not the right thing to use. What do you need to use in that one? Anybody? What did you use? Did you get it?
No, I'm working it down still.
Okay, you got it here. So marginal revenue, right? So you got to multiply that slope times 2.
Then you set that
Right.
equal to
So it equals 4Q.
the marginal cost curve?
Yep, so you're doing the same thing you did in part A, really. Marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Okay, I'm going to kind of, you guys don't even have to draw this, I don't think. Oh, yes, you do. All right, so I think you guys are all getting on the right track. Okay, so make sure you're going back and creating the marginal revenue curve. Look at my little cameraman over here. Come on. Okay, make sure you're getting the marginal revenue curve from the demand curve. So we've got a new demand curve of price equals 240 minus 2Q, but you got to multiply that times 2 to get the marginal revenue curve, and then set the two equal to each other. All right, so let's talk about B for a second, though. So how did it compare? The question says, how does it compare to your answer in A? How does that answer compare to A? Same quantity and lower price, right? Now, what did we learn about the supply curve? Tell me the law of supply, principles of micro. Price goes up, quantity supplied goes up, right? The law of supply. So the price goes up and the firms are going to supply more. Price goes down and they're going to supply less. Well, here we've got price going down, right? And the quantity supplied staying the same, which would tend to make you think maybe an inelastic supply curve. But what we're noticing right away is this is the marginal cost curve, right? So for a monopoly, the marginal cost curve is not the supply curve for monopoly. So that's one little important difference that we see from competition. The marginal cost curve was the supply curve, but not for monopoly, since they're a price maker instead of a price taker. Okay, so let's do part C. You might want to redraw, did I give it, I guess I gave a pretty big one. Yeah, that's right, I blew it up for you guys. So draw on your paper what this thing looks like. Now you have to be a little bit careful here. I'll just tell you that the demand intercept is 120, and I don't even have this perfectly drawn to scale, of course, but 240 would be somewhere over here. You kind of know the answer that you want to get is that the new price is at 180. So if you draw a demand curve that, and I kind of cheat, you can see that I'm kind of cheating, right? But that's our new demand curve that's supposed to be a straight line. And the way the text did this, they did it intentionally. They put the marginal revenue curve, so this would be at 60, like this. So that's the picture that you're kind of drawing for the example. And the question they're asking is, holding marginal cost equal, how does the shape of the demand curve affect the firm's ability to charge a high price? I'll let you guys kind of draw that in there if you want. There's a pretty picture in your book, but it's okay to kind of rough it. There's two things we're trying to pull out of this problem. That's one important part. There is no supply curve for monopoly, so we can even make this stronger. The monopolist does not have a supply curve. Let's just put that in quotes, a supply curve. So the question says, how does the shape of the demand curve affect the firm's ability to charge a high price? What conclusion can you draw from this then? What determines the ability for the firm to charge a high price relative to demand? So the second case they're getting 180. In the first case they were getting 210. Good. That's all we're looking for. Yeah. The more inelastic the demand is, the higher price they can charge, which is the intuition that we got the whole time, right? When you're talking about cocaine that has a pretty high inelastic demand, drug dealers can charge a whole bunch for it. When the meth addicts come up, they can kind of set their own price. Unless there's a real competitive market. As I just saw this show the other day on Netflix, and it was on, well, I was on a number of different things, but this guy went out with criminals and videoed what they were up to, almost to really get deep into the criminal activity. He must have got permission from authorities first to do this, because they were doing completely illegal stuff. And so they went into this apartment that was a crack house, basically, or a meth house. And it was crack. This one was crack. They did meth later. And the guy was kind of openly, the kingpin of the organization gave permission to all of his underlings. Remember what we learned from Freakonomics, right? He sent the word down the chain that he was okay to work with this guy. I mean, they were filming this and everything. And so that's what they did. They had masks on and they were talking about it. And they said, on this block, he's like, you mean there's like 4 or 5 of these on this block? And he said, yeah. So on a city block, there would be a number of places to get the product. And of course, it's probably all controlled by one kingpin, but if it wasn't, you can imagine that competition would drive down prices even for meth to a fair profit. But that's the whole point. Through barriers to entry of shooting people and other things, they keep competition from happening, and drug kingpins kind of agree to have territories, which, by the way, bankers did too. They don't anymore because it's illegal, but it was called redlining. So in the past, and this was more discrimination based, but they call it redlining because they literally, the president of the bank would go in and say, we don't make loans in this area of town because that's the bad area of town. We only make loans in this area. So this is the red line, was kind of the areas, and that was discriminatory because that might have been potentially a higher population of poverty, black, could have been religion, right, if this was a Catholic area of town or something like that. So anyway, that was all made illegal. But drug dealers have the luxury, since they're already doing an illegal activity, then it doesn't matter how many illegal activities they pile on top of it, because they're not going to have any support in the court system to uphold their beef that they have with the other drug kingpin for infringing on their contract that they have in place.
Which is why they kill each other.
Which is why they kill each other, that's right. They just tack on another illegal act on top of it. All right, it's a slippery slope. Okay, any last questions on this problem? Okay, so 9.4, let's return to our earlier problem regarding Babe's bats. Remember that Babe's bats faced an inverse demand curve of 25 minus 0.25Q and a marginal cost curve of 5Q. Calculate the dead weight loss from market power at the firm's profit maximizing level of output. So if you go back to that problem, dead weight loss. You guys have did we graph that one out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So who remembers what the dead weight loss was for Monopoly?
Isn't it the difference between, oh no, I guess that would be consumer cycle.
So we have a picture that looks like this. The monopolist charges the price, or produces the quantity where the revenue generated by the last unit is equal to the cost of the last unit, charges the highest price people are willing and able to pay. All right. What did we have with dead weight loss?
Is it that small triangle?
It is that small triangle, yes. Okay? It's this small triangle. Now, why? I want to talk about the why before we just do the math. The math is easy. We start doing 1/2 base times height and we just calculate it, right? Once we get the pieces of the puzzle. So what was this number? What was the quantity? 2.5. Price? 18.75. Okay. So we even did this part, didn't we? 12.50 was the marginal cost or marginal revenue. All right, and you said it's the triangle, so there's something special about this little part here. With the free market, that's right. So that's the idea here. This is the marginal cost. The marginal benefit to society is the demand curve. So the allocatively efficient quantity for society is that one. And so that one we didn't calculate, if I remember right. And I'm going to give to you in the essence of time.
But wouldn't you just set price equal to the marginal cost? The two equations they give us.
Yeah, the two equations. So you'd set the demand curve equal to the marginal cost curve, right? So you might want to set up this problem, but I'm going to give you the answer. You guys can crank through the math on your own. But So what was our demand curve here? 2P equals 25 minus 2.5Q. And marginal cost equaled 5Q. Solve for Q. Q should be 3.33. And that is the deadweight loss. And if you do it right, you should get deadweight loss equals $2,593.75. You might not have been here, but we did this exercise earlier. This is 9.1. So we calculated this, we calculated this. So that was the profit maximizing quantity of baseball bats.
Okay.
And it's on the previous lecture capture too. So that was the 2.5, set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. This was the first problem we did. And that gives you all the pieces of the puzzle to calculate deadweight loss. But the thing you need to know, I guess for the test, is this part here of what the allocatively efficient quantity is. Set the demand curve equal to marginal cost curve. That gives you this quantity. That's the allocatively efficient quantity for society that creates the deadweight loss. So this is the classic underproduction by the monopolist holding quantity back, jacking up prices. Right? That's the inefficiency of the monopolist captured in the measurement of deadweight loss. Okay. Yep. Now there's a reason, Jesse, for that. I mean, you can always break this into two right triangles. It turns out, so you could solve for this number, and then you do this triangle plus this triangle, if you wanted to, right? That would be one way to do that, 1/2 base times height. It turns out that you can do 1/2 of this height too, as just a geometry thing. Yeah. I had to prove it to myself on one to make sure. I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. But it collapses down. You can do a little proof for yourself that works. We won't spend time on that. Okay.
So on an in-class question, maybe for the test, you'd ask us to calculate something like that or something similar to it, where that would allow us to get the picture.
Yeah.
That show up.
Yeah. Yep. You should know that that's the deadweight loss associated with monopoly.
So is there a consumer producer surplus here too?
Yes.
Is it those squares?
Yeah. So consumer surplus is the difference between what a consumer is willing to pay and what they actually pay for each unit that they consume. So under monopoly, they're consuming 2.5 units. And so the difference between what they're willing to pay and what they actually pay for that unit, that unit, that unit, that unit gives us consumer surplus there. And then the producer surplus ends up being this little trapezoidal area, the difference between what the producer actually gets and the minimum amount they must get for each unit consumed. Okay, so this kind of rolls in. I'm going to keep this graph on our mind here of into price discrimination. Who remembers what price discrimination is? Chapter 10 stuff now. Price discrimination. Anybody remember? Price discrimination. Happens all the time, completely legal, as long as you don't do it on protected classes. Race, gender.
Isn't it like coupons and stuff?
Coupons is a form of it. Yes. What else?
Like sales?
Sales. Yep, sales can be a form of it. We're going to get more sophisticated than what we did in principles class. But that is absolutely right. What else? Price discrimination. So what are you doing with a coupon? Let's kind of work through your coupon logic. What's effectively going on with a coupon? What's that? Reducing the price, okay. And a little more detail, that's true.
You actually have to take the time to cut out the coupon.
Okay, so reducing the price for everybody?
Just the couponers.
Just whoever has the coupon. Who does the coupons? Likely.
Consumers are
Low income.
Low income consumers. Why? They have, so their opportunity cost is different than maybe a wealthy person, right? Who is like, well, I got better things to do with my time. Because couponing takes time, by the way. Have you guys couponed? I mean, I've done it. Yeah. If you actually spend time really using coupons, you can save a decent amount of money. But you might spend an hour, 2 hours, I mean some real effort, like making sure you're cutting the right things, you're looking at the papers, you're looking at the deals. I mean, there's real cost involved, right? And so if you're a high income person, you're like, well, it's not that valuable to me, right? So the opportunity cost is different. If you're low income, you're like, oh, that's worth my time. I'm going to do it.
I was going to say this, when I worked at Target this summer, we had coupon scammers where it's like people's job. This lady, she explained it to us. She spends like something like 40 hours a week going through coupons. And there was one deal that we had. Sometimes the coupons are the store's disadvantaged where they lose money. So
Yeah.
we had like a deal where if you bought 2 Crest toothbrushes for $1, you got a $3 coupon. And so this lady came in and bought all of our toothbrushes.
Bought you out.
Probably made like $5 grand or whatever, but
$5,000?
Target
That
policy,
much?
It was high. It was way up there. And Target policy is you can't redeem it for cash, so we had to give it to her in gift cards. So then she went out and bought. So we loaded all the money that she made. Why did Target have to give cash back? It was a Target, must have been a Target deal. It was a Target coupon, and so
That's
they're
why.
trying to eliminate the coupons for cash deals. So when you ever use a coupon, it's for you get cash. Supposed to get cash back. They load it onto a gift card so that you have to spend it at Target.
Right.
And so.
But then she could go spend gift cards as
Right.
close to being money.
So
If
then
you
she
put those on
was-
Craigslist, I got a $50 gift card for
Exactly.
$45. I'll take it. I'll take it.
And
Right?
she said, I literally haven't paid for any household items in years because this is what I do. And I go to Walmart and they do the same thing to me and I sell it online. And
Yeah.
she's like, I made 6 figures last year. And we were like, I was just blown away.
Really?
It's-
I wouldn't call her a scammer. I'd call her very
I
entrepreneurial.
asked my manager, she's like,
That's completely within the rules.
it's just so
Scammers to me are fraudulent, right? They're liars. This gal's just entrepreneurial. She's just figured out, yeah, saw an opportunity, closed the gap. I mean, that's beautiful to me. And I want to go kudos to her. I could see people calling it a scammer, but she's not taking anything away that couldn't have been better figured out by a manager at Target, or maybe somebody who. See, that's why they need smart guys like you at Target up the management chain to prevent that type
I
of
was the
thing.
guy that had to get all the toothbrushes out of the back. I was frustrated.
At this point, you were stocking shelves, but
It didn't make sense. Like, why
Max,
would I
for
take-
those of you who don't know, he did an internship. He's kind of was in the management track. He had a really nice internship where they were giving him management experience and stuff too at Target. So
So I'm like, why are we bringing out 5,000 toothbrushes? And then it made sense when I found it.
Yeah.
So,
good for her. No, I applaud that. That's not a. As long as you're staying with it, and the thing is, she was completely above board. She wasn't trying to hide anything, right?
No, yeah.
I don't want my toothbrushes.
And like,
Yeah.
and then we went over to the market side.
She said she made 6 figures doing
Yeah.
similar stuff. Wow.
And she went over to the market side and there was a deal for crackers. It was the same thing. It was like a 30-cent increase. Like,
She better keep that to herself.
oh yeah, she doesn't.
No. Because why? Use your economics to.
Because right now it's monopoly.
Yeah. Well, she's got that information, but what's going to happen if a bunch of people learn how easy it is? They're going to start doing it, and guess what? Is Target going to offer that anymore? No. Smart guys at Target are going to close down that gap. That window is going to go away due to good old market forces. It's just going to close.
We
So
have to sell it to her at that price.
Yeah.
It's illegal, misrepresentation.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. You guys get in big trouble, but she was totally, yeah. And that's what that's the arbitrage part of entrepreneurship, and it gets rid of those inefficiencies. That was an inefficient move, and somebody capitalized on it. You guys failed at that. You learn from your failures. You don't do it again. Or if you think it was worth it, you do.
I
So.
recall within like 4 minutes, and they had the sign removed, and all the bushes were gone. Like,
I bet.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
They usually put limits on that kind of stuff.
They do. That's the thing. They need to rethink their strategy. But this is just perfect. I'm glad we're getting into this level of detail, because that's exactly what these upcoming chapters are going to be, is kind of these sophisticated things that companies do. But if they don't think all the way through what the theoretical possibilities are, what seems to be like, oh, well, that's a good idea. Let's run that this Sunday. And they run it, and boom, profits go down rather than up.
Walmart does put a cap on it, but because Target wants to differentiate, Target does not. So that's what it's
Oh.
primarily over time. I guess it's
Well, that's a competitive edge they won't be doing anymore.
So,
Yeah.
now they're-
They might want to find something different there. Okay, good. So, so in general, price discrimination is charging different prices to different people for the same product. So if you're a couponer, you're effectively paying a lower price than somebody else. And we have different types of price discrimination.
Walmart's price match that they do.
Yeah. Yeah, so price discrimination. Let me write out the definition first.
We're talking about chapter 10 right now, right?
Yes, this is chapter 10 stuff. So this is not for this will be on the next test after. So charging different prices to different people for the same good.
they say fixed wages.
Okay.
But like, it seems to be the same idea.
No, because it's not the producer that's charging the different price. That would be the difference. Yeah, so it's kind of the seller engaging in it rather than with food stamps, the government or some other place is giving that. So charging different prices to different people for the same good. So you said coupons. You mentioned Walmart, and I'm just going to put here the comp list. How many of you are familiar with the comp list here in Ottawa? Because if you're not, you should be familiar with it, especially from an Econ standpoint is one thing, but I use it all the time, every week.
It's like, it's a list that shows all the competitive stores with Walmart, like their prices.
But it's awesome how it came about. So completely free market behavior again. This person in Ottawa, Emily Graves, who lives on the north side of Ottawa, started keeping she was a couponer basically, and Walmart has the policy of matching any other price that's out there. So she, every week for her own family, was going through the internet and all the super coupons, the get you in the door coupons that sometimes they're even selling them at either cost or maybe even below cost in some cases. So cantaloupe for $1 today or whatever, something like that. Just the ads that you see in the Sunday paper. Well, with the digital revolution, all of that's online. And so she goes through and creates an Excel spreadsheet of items and the price and where it's at and how long the ad runs. So that is the comp list. And she's got everything. There's toothbrush, toilet paper, and then all kinds of food products. And milk and dairy and fresh meat and ground beef. I mean, everything. Everything you buy at the grocery store.
This is online.
And so Walmart's policy is that within a 50-mile radius of a store, of a Walmart, you know how many Walmarts there are, within a 50-mile radius, any store is up fair game for that. So she's already mapped out and identified all the stuff that's within 50 miles, and everything in Lawrence is within 50 miles. So every Checkers, Dillon's, Aldi, lots of stores that aren't in Ottawa that are 50 miles away, she has all the prices for that.
Is it Lathe even 50 miles away?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, Olathe is within 50, yeah. So she's got Hy-Vee, I mean, everything's on there. And so she lists the company. So the comp list is this because Walmart comps to you the price that these other competitors charge. And I regularly now, weekly, go in there and buy I haven't perfectly even mapped it out because I'm just having so much fun. And you can't tell really easily at the cash register because they just overwrite it. But if you look at each item, so my wife bought apples. Like, we've been eating a lot of apples because they were $1.88 for Gala apples, a 3-pound bag. $1.88 at Dillon's because that was their get you in the door special. They're $4.88 at Walmart.
Wow.
So we're talking just on a bag of apples, $3 there. So we buy a shopping cart worth of stuff, probably got $130 to $150 worth of stuff, and we pay $80 for it. I mean, it's some serious discounts. And so my wife and I totally shop differently now. We shop by the list. Oh, we need this. This sounds good. This sounds good. Because she's doing this every week. So anytime you want to go shopping, you just go through and do it. So she's been on national media. She's gotten interviews, and she was on like a morning show or something, that sort of thing. As this thing has grown, she has 50,000 followers now of the comp list. And if you go to Walmart, well, that's what's funny. I was going to bring this up. There's rumors floating around, like, does she work for Walmart, or do they, want her? And so this last thing, my wife read it to me. I didn't see it, but she said, and by the way, no, I don't work for Walmart. She works at like the hospital. She's getting her MBA. She's doing like school studies. She has a small child, and just kind of a normal person that kind of started doing this. She said, I will gladly be bought out by Walmart if they want me to stop making the comp list. My price is $1 million. She said, so she's willing to be bought out. She's not putting anything down. But anybody else could be doing this too. She just does it for her own purpose, and then it is an effort, and she's kind of gotten heat from people like, where's the comp list? Like, they're demanding it. She provides it for free. And she gets these emails from people because she might have had something going on in her life, Wednesday night. She normally posts it like Wednesday night, but she didn't get to it till Thursday, and she'll start getting emails like, well, where's the comp list? People are demanding it. So it's been kind of comical to see this thing evolve. She sells advertising, so to get back to how she's turned it into a little bit of a business, on the comp list towards the end, there's a bunch of local advertisers and some other people that pay a little bit of money to be on the comp list. So then when you print it off, the advertising comes. And then on her website, she actually quit emailing it out now because she was just it's getting so big and so cumbersome to keep track of the list. So now you do have to go to her site. But if you Google comp list Ottawa, it'll come up with her site.
Oh, wow.
And then you guys just go there, download it. You can download it as a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet and just do your shopping. So if you go walk around Walmart, once you have it, it's funny because half the people you see in the grocery section have the comp list. You're literally just walking around with a 5-page Excel spreadsheet, and we just highlight what we want to buy.
You just hand it to like the register?
When you go up to the register, you have to tell them that this is, now they're so familiar with the comp list, they know what it is.
Some people do it worse than others, though, because some people when my mom knows it, we put sticky notes and write the price on it, but some people will like be really rude when they come up there and just like expect them to know.
Oh yeah. No, you have to. Walmart has their policy. You have to tell them what the deal is, and then if it's less than half price, Walmart has kind of an internal policy that they'll actually look at the list. But otherwise, you just tell them, nope, apples $1.88.
Can you coupon the lowest price on the comp list?
Yes. So that's what somebody told me when I was going through the checkout list. I was using my comp list, and she was behind me, and she says, if you did some coupons with the comp list, you can get this stuff almost free.
Oh my God.
So she's adding on so let's say it's $1 off Gala apples or something. You paid, instead of $1.88, you pay $1. But then you still have the cost of couponing, which doesn't make this comp list is easy. I mean, it's just like It's actually nice. I mean, we're at home, we print off a sheet of stuff. Oh, that sounds good this week. This sounds good. And then we just go to Walmart, pick those things off the shelf. Now, I'm not worried about taking Walmart out of business, right? I mean, they're probably covering their costs, and we end up buying more stuff that isn't on the comp list too. So I'm not worried that they're going under. So
if you have
unlike your toothbrush example, where if you had enough people doing that, yeah, that'll get kiboshed fast.
if you do have a comp list, then you don't need like the other ads from stores.
No, you don't need to bring in the ads or anything. That's Walmart's policy. So with her doing this type of thing, though, it'll be interesting to see if they actually would change their policy.
They're gonna have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we end up buying more stuff there now. So like I said, we'll, then we have to go to another. We used to go to Country Mart more often than we do, and I kind of feel bad, but then I kind of feel like I'm sticking it to Walmart anyway. So I got this kind of tug of war going on. But because I liked Country Mart a little bit better. So anyway, that is probably too long of an answer for the comp list. What I want to think about then is applying these deals. Let me list a few more deals. Senior coffee at McDonald's, right? Senior coffee. I don't know if you guys are familiar with senior coffee, but the guy that was kind of my mentor was retirement age, and he'd get the senior coffee. And when we went up to McDonald's, even though it was worth $30 million, he could probably afford the full price coffee. But student discount, good. We see that here in Ottawa. At different places, you might get a student discount at movie theater tickets or something like that.
Military discount?
Military discount, yeah, that'd be another one. They're all over the place once you start looking. When you think about your airline tickets, I just sent my son off last night to Minneapolis, but you likely haven't paid the same thing that the person sitting next to you paid, right? Because the airlines engage in price discrimination all the time. So that idea is all over the place. And so looking back to this picture then, what does that do to this picture in terms of profit maximization? So I don't have it on here, but let me just for simplicity say that the average total cost curve is coming through here. If that's the case, then this is this triangle here between 1875 and 1250 is also the economic profit, right? So the traditional model is a single product model where we're just charging one price to everybody. And so if there's people out here that are willing to pay more for the product, so if there's somebody in our population that's willing to pay more, then what we can really do is start to chip away at their consumer surplus, right? If I can figure out how to charge this guy $25 because he's willing to pay $25, because that's our higher income person or something, somehow I've been able to legally separate out that person, then I can kind of take away some of their consumer surplus, which now becomes my profit. And so the profit area grows by charging a higher price to different people. Now, if I was able to gauge in what's called perfect price discrimination, where I'm charging the highest price people are willing and able to pay for every single unit, something else happens here. The revenue generated by each additional unit is now equal to the price. So as I start to cut price from $18.75, if I can cut the price to $17.75 and pick up an extra unit without cutting the price to my previous units, right? Then the revenue generated by this extra unit is $17.75. And the revenue generated by this unit is the price that I sold it to. And so go ahead, Taylor.
There's no more consumer surplus?
There's no more consumer surplus, that's right. Once we start doing that, the demand curve and the marginal benefit curve and now the marginal revenue curve are actually all equal to each other. There's no consumer surplus, but what about the deadweight loss? There's no deadweight loss either. Look at we've squished out all the deadweight loss. So you could be tempted to look at that and think, oh, does that mean that the that this is bad. Well, consumers are paying what they were willing to pay. So are they worse off? Well, not really. They're paying what they were willing to pay. And we've got more people consuming that good. So in that respect, price discrimination is good as it starts to move the monopolist quantity this direction towards the allocative efficient quantity. But in these deals where if you got a student discount, you've grouped them into two parts. Students and non-students. Students are paying cheaper, the other non-students are paying more. Your marginal revenue curve is not going to shift all the way over. It's not a perfect price discrimination, but it is going to end up selling a few more tickets. So that's the concept that we'll work on starting on Monday.
Price discrimination